The Viper is ready to strike, but KO is out, so who will take his place? We count down the top 5 next, so just keep watching. Welcome to the OK Not OK podcast. I am the SportsZu, still in for Doktor O'Kay, who remains crying somewhere over KO's injury, but we've got to move on and get Randy Orton an opponent for Mania, so let's count down the top 5 men to challenge him next. So let's start with number 5 and the new kid on the block, which is Rey Fenix. And although he was not quite as electric as Penta, Fenix was still pretty impressive, and I'm sure he'll do it again this week with another good match against Berto. So what a better way to shoot him right on up the card than to go against the Viper. And you don't have to tell much of a story here. Orton can simply waltz into Aldis's office and demand a match, and since Aldis probably doesn't want to get RKO'd again, he says he has a plan. So they watch Fenix's match from his office, and they're both impressed. So when Fenix wins, they both come on out to the ramp. Aldis makes the announcement, and Randy goes to the ring, shakes his hand, and then RKO's him for good measure. At number 4 is Braun Strowman, and Strowman has had an incredibly good year since his return last May. He is a rare superstar who wins more often than not, but never seems to get a title shot, as his only one was his no contest against LA Knight a couple weeks ago. And he also had 2 incredibly physical and entertaining feuds versus Big Bronson Reed and Jacob Fatu, both culminating in awesome last man standing matches. But he did take his first loss in such a match last week to prevent him from getting another shot at Knight. So Strowman at least earned the right to ask Aldis for any match at all at WrestleMania. So with KO's spot opening up, I think filling it with a monster seems like a pretty good idea. And what's more, Strowman has never had a one-on-one match against Orton despite joining the roster back on August 24th, 2015. So why not make this unique matchup happen now? As they say, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And it would be entertaining to see Strowman take a couple RKOs before he's down for good. At number 3 is Shinsuke Nakamura, and it was a dreadful run for Shinsuke after winning the US title from LA Knight at Survivor Series. And perhaps it is too late to turn things around for him, and even WWE.com might think so, because they returned his superstar image to the prior picture rather than sticking with the new one with those large scars over his face and eyes. But perhaps we still have a chance to appear sinister with his current samurai iteration. And pretty much like Strowman, these two have just one one-on-one match in their career, which is also surprising since Nakamura joined the main roster on April 4th, 2017. And in that match, Nakamura actually defeated Orton on September 5th, 2017 on SmackDown to become the number 1 contender for Jinder Mahal's WWE Championship, which happened after Orton had already lost for the 3rd straight time to Mahal, which included that Punjabi prison match at Battleground. So how do we get here for this one? Well, Shinsuke simply interrupts Orton in the middle of the ring, saying that Orton is finally a challenger worthy of his reputation. Orton can give him the old thanks but no thanks routine, but Nakamura will then just spit that mist in his face and land a Kinshasa. So is it enough to make it believable that Shinsuke can win this one? No, it certainly is not, but it should be a good enough match for all those wrestling purists out there. So a good quality match in the mid-card is certainly a good idea. At number 2, well, Solo Sikoa. Randy Orton has already had 6 televised matches against Sikoa since he returned in November of 2024, but only one of those was a one-on-one match back in January of 2024. And the new Bloodline won all 3 of their tag team matches against him since WrestleMania 40 with KO as Orton's teammate. That included 2 PLE matches at Backlash and at Money in the Bank. So with Sikoa having nothing else to do, and with Fatu now set to challenge Knight, I'd say it's probably easy pickings for Sikoa and Tonga to get the best of him in the middle of the ring. And perhaps they don't even need to do this with a direct attack, because Sikoa and Tonga can attack Cody Rhodes during his promo on SmackDown this week. And so Orton has to run out to make the save for his good friend Cody. And this leads to a tag match between the four of them. And then there'll of course be some sort of post-match shenanigans leading to Sikoa delivering multiple Samoan spikes to Orton. And I could say that is enough to get Orton's blood boiling and to have a match at WrestleMania. Let's take just a quick moment here to pause for some honorable mentions. First, I want to say Sheamus would be acceptable for the old guys to have a banger at Mania, but I don't think we want to go there. I'm not completely opposed to Carmelo Hayes being his opponent, but we have seen this a few times, so I don't think we need to go there. We, of course, have a mystery vignette with that number 4, which, of course, we all think is Aleister Black. Plus, we could have another big surprise return with Rusev. So both of these would get pretty good pops if they were mystery opponents against Orton at WrestleMania, and it would be fun, but I feel like this has been set up for Orton to get a win at Mania to set up his future plans, so I would hate to see both of them re-debut with losses. And that takes us to number 1, it'll be Sami Zayn. Zayn and Owens certainly hate each other's guts in storyline right now, but we know they still love each other in real life. So this would be both a great way to honor him for real, but also a way to rub it in his face in storyline. And since Zayn has been off TV since nearly getting himself killed at the Elimination Chamber when Orton saved him from a package pile driver, well, what if he just came back mad at Orton instead that he saved him, defiant to a fault, saying it was up to either one of those two to kill or be killed, and he rather would have been injured himself than to be spared by Orton. So just maybe he'd say he could have turned it around on Owens after that match was over, so Orton stopped that possibility, so now he needs to take out his frustrations on him. And at the same time, he can also rub it into KO's face by getting the chance to do what Owens couldn't and have that one-on-one match against Randy Orton at Mania and also beat him. So that would not be just one, but 2 things that KO could not accomplish. And if he wins, this would show everyone what he would have done to Owens instead if he got another chance at him. So this would be a pretty shocking heel turn from Sami Zayn after losing to KO when we think he might want some more sympathy, but sitting out for the last month has turned him just a little bit crazy, so he is our number 1 pick. So there you have it. Those are our top 5 replacement opponents for Randy Orton at WrestleMania. So what do you think? Did I miss anyone? Make sure to leave your comments down below. And if you missed me filling in for the doc for this week's Raw review and grades for every match and segment, be sure to go right on over here and check that out. And since I'm doing all the work until Doc returns, make sure that you know that I am the SportsZu, and this has been the OK Not OK podcast.